The Boston Celtics took down the Orlando Magic in Game 2 of this Eastern Conference first-round matchup, 109-100, and now the Celtics take a commanding 2-0 lead as this series shifts over to Orlando. We knew the storylines coming into this game. Would Jason Tatum be 100% if he were to gut it out and play? He would ultimately miss it and miss his first ever postseason playoff game of his career. This meant that Jaylen Brown, Derek White, Kristaps Porzingis, etc. would need to step up in his absence, and they absolutely did. Mr. Finals MVP Jaylen Brown dropped 36, 10, and 5 and played a tremendous game. One of the things that stood out to me the most from Jaylen Brown's game was how efficient he shot the ball from beyond the arc. He was an incredible 5 for 7 from three-point range, and that is a scary sight for opposing teams when Jaylen Brown is consistently hitting that three-point shot. We know he's really been up and down when it comes to being a consistent guy that can shoot the ball from beyond the arc. If you remember that Miami series 2 years ago when Boston got eliminated in the Eastern Conference Finals, he shot like an abysmal 9% from beyond the arc. So if Jaylen Brown can consistently knock down three-point shots, it just makes this team even scarier because we know that Tatum can knock down the three-point shot. Although he is a little inconsistent too, we know that Tatum can knock down the three-point shot. You know that Derek White can definitely hit down the three-point shot. Of course, Al Horford, Porzingis, Holiday, all those guys can hit the three ball. But if Jaylen Brown can really lead the charge there, especially with Tatum being out on that three-point barrage, man, this Celtics team gets really, really scary. I love the way this team responded overall, though. We knew that Tatum wouldn't be playing in this game because of that hard foul that happened against KCP, and the team took exception to that. You saw Al Horford frustrated talking to the media how they felt. You know, this wasn't just a one-time foul thing. You saw it 2 to 3 times throughout the game. And then you see KCP trip Al Horford. He gets up super mad. Joe Mazzulla, Drew Holiday had to hold him back. And I love seeing that. I love kind of seeing this anger and this killer mentality from the Celtics. How do they continue to really test themselves? Because we know that they're going to win in the first round. We know that they're going to win in the second round, whether it's against Detroit or New York, although Detroit would be a very tough physical series. We know that they're going to take care of business. How do they continue to hold themselves to a high standard and really sharpen that iron, unlike they did 2 years ago? Not to, bring up bad memories from that 2023 year, but if you remember in the first round, they let Atlanta take them 6 games, and then they almost lost to the 76ers when they went down 3-2. That went to a 7th game where they had to win, and then they were down 0-3 against Miami, and they had to dig themselves out of that hole. So I love seeing this, transition from that. Even though it was 2 years ago, different team, but even from last year, they took care of business 4-1 in the first round. This year, they're up 2-0. They took care of home court. And so now for the Celtics, they just have to continue to sharpen that iron. This buys Tatum some more time with this whole bone bruise injury on his wrist. I would like to see him sit out, quite frankly, the rest of the series. There's no point in playing him. Let him get to 100% because he had that small fracture in his wrist a few seasons ago that he was dealing with. I don't want this to be something of the similar nature. Like, I want him to get completely healthy. We know that the Celtics can take care of Orlando without him. They don't need him back. Let's get him fully rested up, and then he can really come back and just explode in the rest of this series because we know how much he's really haunted New York, especially if they face off against them in the second round. But I like the way the Celtics answered the call in Game 2. How would they kind of come in with this added motivation with this dirty foul against Tatum? Al Horford was fired up. You saw Kristaps Porzingis firing up the crowd multiple times. 2 really cool moments with him from this game when he got shoved in the back and he kind of toppled into the stands, almost toppled into the fans, and he was kind of just firing everybody up, giving out a bunch of high fives. They love Kristaps Porzingis in Boston. And then that second moment, he just gets nailed with an elbow right to the head from Goga Batadze. And you just see the blood streaming down his hair. And Joe Mazzulla even said afterwards, he's like, I think that's a really important moment. I love seeing him bleed on the court. It's this Celtics identity is what it is. And KP has that huge bandage on his head. He comes down, knocks down a free throw, misses the second, but he comes back with 5 stitches in his head. But man, that's some toughness and grit right there. Already knowing that Tatum's out, taking that huge elbow to the head. This has been a physical, fun series. They've got to take care of business in 4 games. We don't want to see any more injuries here. And then they're going to ultimately face off against Detroit and New York, which is a really interesting kind of first round matchup going on over there. I could absolutely see Detroit winning that series. They're going to play game 3 tonight. Man, this Detroit team, they're tough. They're physical. New York, they don't look like the same squad. And I know this video obviously is not directed towards either one of those teams, but I want to finish talking about Kristaps Porzingis here. I remember watching the Celtics last year when they were fully healthy and when they finally had KP a little bit in that Miami series. They had him a little bit in the finals, and they just looked so good when they had him. And right now, if they can have him healthy for this entire postseason, man, this team is so nasty. Like, they only lost 3 games last year. They went 16-3, had one of the most dominant postseason runs. Now, if they can add Kristaps Porzingis to that for the entirety of this postseason, let's assume that JT will be healthy. But if KP is healthy and you have this entire starting 5 that is good to go, ready to go, man, this Celtics team is nasty. Like, I think they're going to sweep Orlando. I could absolutely see them sweeping or gentlemen sweeping either Detroit or New York. And then against Cleveland, I think they can get Cleveland in 6. I honestly think they can get them in 5, but you guys aren't ready for that conversation yet. And then they're going to get Cleveland in 5 or 6, in my opinion. And then what's going to happen in the finals, because this Western Conference is a bloodbath. But Kristaps Porzingis, man, if they have him healthy for the entirety of the postseason, he is such a lethal player for this squad. Not only for just his ability to stretch the floor and really be a great pick and popper for this team, but just his overall rim presence. Like, I watched Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner and other guys that are being aggressive and getting to the hole. And you just have Kristaps Porzingis that is there, the 7'3" unicorn, there to contest every shot, block every shot. Like, the dude is just nasty. He had the best plus minus on the team last night. Kristaps Porzingis just makes the Celtics squad a whole nother beast. Congratulations to Peyton Pritchard coming off the bench, winning 6th man of the year. We found that out on Tuesday night. Again, he had another big performance, 14 points off the bench, efficient shooting that 3 ball, and they need him. He had that big time and one when Orlando's kind of keeping it close, but he is that ultimate spark plug. He closed the game. Derek White had 5 fouls. Peyton Pritchard closed the game last night and he looked great. So I just continue to just marvel at the depth and the flexibility that Joe Mazzulla has with all of these different guys coming off the bench. Game 3 on Friday, Celtics Magic. Celtics take a commanding 2-0 lead. Will JT be back in game 3? I'm hoping that he just sits out the rest of the series. Celtics absolutely can get it done in 4 games. Heck of a performance from the finals MVP. And I'm excited to see what they can do in this potential closeout game on Friday and then on Sunday. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Caden Kubler, and thank you guys so much for watching.